Anyway, Don here for Diary of a Gig Driver. I realize I haven't posted in a while. I know this. I came up with some content that was very controversial, and YouTube decided to delete my video and put me in YouTube jail. Well, I'm back now. Today, let's start off with this, that I realize I'm not that fun to watch. There's not a whole lot of sight gags. I'm not very visual. There's no antics going on. I'm more of a podcaster. But right now, this is the medium that I have. I don't have podcaster shit. So what I could suggest to you is to put me on Bluetooth, play me through your car, listen to me on your way to work. Easier way to go about it. Don't have to worry about watching me. I'm not going to really do anything, that's visual. Also, I have to say that my videos are my opinion. Unless I back them up with some kind of fact, like a news story or something I've read where I cite the actual story, then my stuff is opinion. I'd like to say that I get paid for this, but I don't. Nobody endorses me. Nobody pays me. Nobody gives me anything for my opinion. I just give it freely because, it is what it is. So, today I want to talk about labor shortage. I've read in the news a lot about labor shortages. That it seems to be the same sentence spoken each and every time. Nobody wants to work. No one wants to work. It's not true, by the way. People do want to work. It's our media trying to tell us that nobody wants to work. People do. People want to work. I want to work. Problem is, nobody feels appreciated at these jobs. Our healthcare workers, they're quitting in the hundreds all over the country based on vaccine mandates. That's their choice. I am all about freedom of choice, pro-choice. You can decide what you want to do with your body. I agree with that. I agree with them not wanting to be forced into doing something. I can get behind that. For them, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that they've worked through this entire pandemic, that in these hospitals, surrounded by people with COVID, and they keep going. They keep doing it. And our president wants to say that he wants health facilities that that everybody's vaccinated in them. These people weren't vaccinated 6 months ago. These people weren't vaccinated a year ago at this time. When our numbers were originally spiking, these people weren't vaccinated, and they were in there doing the job. And they're feeling a little underappreciated right now, that they've gone all this time without contracting COVID while working in the hospitals. And now you're going to force them to put something in their body that they don't want. So they're quitting. This is going to get worse. More people are going to quit over these vaccine mandates. Companies are going to go under. That's one reason behind it. Second reason behind it, and this comes from personal experience. I know this is fact. When the pandemic started, people quit their jobs in droves almost. They were afraid for their families. They were afraid for themselves. They worried. So they left their jobs. Federal unemployment benefits made it so that you made more money on unemployment than you made working a job. So these people felt comfortable leaving their jobs. Again, I don't blame them. The beginning of the pandemic was very scary for all of us. I worked through the entire pandemic. I didn't take unemployment. I didn't leave my job. It was a very rough time. We were short staffed all the time. We couldn't hire anybody because, yeah, at that time, people didn't didn't have to work. They didn't. It's not that they didn't want to; it's that they didn't have to. So we were left with bottom of the barrel, pretty much, or people that came in just to fill out an application and get an interview, so that they can say that they filled out an application, got an interview for unemployment purposes. As the pandemic went on, things got harder for us because we were working 5, 6, 7 days a week. Um, my wife was the general manager, the store manager of a pizza place in Prescott Valley. And she was underappreciated. I worked as many hours as she worked. If I had to work off the clock, I worked off the clock. I did what needed to be done to keep that business running, not just for the business itself, but for my family, for my wife, for my kids. I put in so many hours of work that I never even got paid for, and that's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm happy to do it. I'll do it all over again. Um, but I witnessed everything that was going on, everything that happened. The corporate guys decided to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. You got to keep doing this. You got to do more of this. You got to do more of that. We're down in money because our dining rooms are closed. So you need to make up that extra money somehow. And they were constantly riding her ass. In the end, what happened was she ended up going to the hospital because she had a really bad abscess in one of her teeth. And it puffed out her cheek like, a chipmunk or one of those old baseball players that you see with a big old wad of chew in their mouth. She went to the hospital for that because it wasn't getting any better. And the hospital messed up and ended up rupturing that abscess into the side of her face. So the whole side of her face had swollen up. She had to go to the hospital the following day to get that taken care of. Now, these 2 days were very busy days for the company. We ran really high on labor hours because we were down one of our pivotal employees. So we had to make up for it somewhere. So that's what we did. We ran high on labor. The following day was inventory day. I kind of knew inventory. The assistant store manager that was very poorly equipped for the job, he didn't really know inventory. We did the best we could getting it done, and we had only made a few mistakes. Our store manager came in that evening and was putting in the numbers, and corporate guys ended up calling her up. Why are the numbers so messed up? Why is labor blown? And she explained to him, hey, I had to go to the hospital. This is what happened to me. And they said, no, you need to be at your store. So in essence, these companies, they don't care about you as a person. They will work you until you die. They will work you until you have a heart attack. And they will say, thank you for your service. and then hire somebody to fill in your place and go along business as usual. They don't care about you as an employee. No appreciation whatsoever. There were, what, 7 or 8 of us that were working there. And by the time everything was said and done, there were only 2 left. Everybody quit after my wife decided that enough was enough. She was done. She was walking. She had the loyalty of her crew because she stood by us in the trenches every day. She went through everything with us. She had the loyalty of us. So when she decided that enough was enough and she wasn't going to put up with the corporate crap anymore, we all decided that we weren't going to put up with the corporate crap anymore. And it's not just the corporate crap either. It's customers as well. Hey, you might sit there and say, well, customers, how does that work? How can the customers be responsible for this? Well, customer's always right. That's the problem. Between Yelp and the thinking that the customer's always right, it's turned any kind of hospitality industry, service industry, into a battleground, honestly. It's made customers feel like they're entitled to be treated different than everybody else. It has made it so that employees at these companies need to be are held to higher standards, that we can't make mistakes. We have to be absolutely perfect. One of the corporate guys actually said it quite well early on in the pandemic. It was the only thing that he said that I agree with. He said anymore, food service workers are like doctors. It is the only 2 professions in the world where you are expected to be perfect. Why is that? Are the people working in these places not human? Because last I knew, humans made mistakes. We were prone to it. And especially if you throw in a pandemic, uncertainty of the future, uncertainty of the job, you put in, you mix in all of this with the extra hours that have to be put in because people left. You end up with people that are really burnt out and kind of done with everybody's bullshit. Customers, the days of complaining a little bit so that you can get a free food need to stop. They need to end. These food service people, these hospitality workers, they're not your slaves. Okay? We don't just sit around and wait for you to come in and say, "Ooh, hey, another customer, everything we can do for that customer," and then be nice and cordial to you while you shit all over us, while you spit in our faces, while you yell at us. And knowing that we can do very little about it because there's Yelp, there's fucking calling corporate, there's all of this stupid stuff that you guys do to try to get free food is ridiculous. Now I understand food is expensive and you shouldn't have to pay for something you didn't order. I get that. I understand that. Hey, I'm right on board with you. But there's a way to conduct yourself. Instead of going up and yelling at the person, you can go up and say, "Hey, I got a problem with this. This is what I ordered. This is what I got. You know, I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm not making a fuss out of it." And leave it in the employee's hands at that point of, okay, we're going to make this right for you. We'll go ahead and remake it. All right, cool. Did you want this other stuff back? Because I don't want to pay for food I'm not going to eat. Make an effort, open a dialogue with these people. That's the way I treat food service employees. That's the way I treat anybody in the hospitality industry. I treat them with some respect because they don't get any anywhere. A lot of these people, they don't get respect at their job. They don't get respect from the company that has hired them. They don't get respect from their bosses. They don't get respect from their family when they go home because they're never home. These people have put a lot on the line for you, especially working through this crap. Show them a little bit of respect. It's not all about the money. It's not all about no one wants to work. It's about appreciation for the job that's being done. A little bit more money, yeah, that's nice. I'm not going to complain. You've got CEOs of companies making millions upon millions of dollars, $10 million, $100 million, whatever a year, and the lowest ranking employees are barely making minimum wage. Especially if you're a server, if you're a tipped employee. If you're a tipped employee, you make less than minimum wage because they figure you're making money because you're getting tips. Well, what if you're not getting tipped? Then you're making less than minimum wage. What if you're barely making a little bit over minimum wage, but you have to work twice as hard for it because you're a tipped employee? It's ridiculous. There shouldn't be a standard for tipped employees. There really shouldn't. An employee is an employee. It doesn't matter. And you might say, well, that comes out at the end of the week or whatever. If you don't make as much as minimum wage on your tips, the company covers you, and this, that, and the other thing. And that's crap. That's trusting a money hungry company to give up cash flow. And honestly, it's for minimum wage. It's what I think it's like. If you make more than 30, 40 bucks a week in tips, then they don't have to pay you shit. Um, I think minimum wage should, well, here's the thing. Here's the trick to minimum wage. You can't raise it. You cannot raise minimum wage. Everybody wants to complain about everything being so expensive nowadays. It's because minimum wage goes up. Uh, in Arizona, before minimum wage went up, I could go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger meal for less than $7. Now that minimum wage has gone up in the state of Arizona, a cheeseburger meal costs almost $9. Every time we raise minimum wage, these companies raise their prices because they're not gonna have their bottom line hit. They're not going to lose money. They're going to make it up somehow, and the only way to make it up is raising prices. So raising minimum wage doesn't work. So how can we make things better? How can we make things cheaper? That's the question. We need to make the products that we're buying cheaper. We need to make the services that we're paying for cheaper. Even if we were making $7.25 as a minimum wage, things would still be expensive based on the $7.25 an hour minimum wage. And they say, well, that's the price you pay for not going to college. That's the price you pay for not getting a degree, is you have to get a minimum wage job. Okay, so because I couldn't afford to go to college, or something happened in my life that made it so I couldn't finish college, I have to suffer with a crap job, working with crap people for crap wages that aren't even enough to sustain me as a single person. Now let's be real. Obama put into place the Affordable Care Act. He basically said that any company that has over 50 employees has to offer them health insurance if they're full-time employees. Well, what do you think these companies did? These companies decided that there weren't going to be any more full-time employees. They weren't going to pay the money. They found a way around it. So they've got a bunch of part-time employees. So now you have to have two jobs to get full-time wages. Two jobs at full-time wages on Arizona salary is about $1,500 a month. One of the cheapest apartments in the town that I live in is $1,300 a month. So right there, you've got $200 left over after you get done paying your rent. And that's for a one-bedroom apartment. One bedroom, by the way. So you've got $200 left over. That's barely going to pay your electric bill. So you've got to take on a third job just to be able to pay the bills and pay your way if you're on your own. Everything has become far too expensive for anybody. I understand this because my son's trying to move out, and I'm looking at all the properties, and it's like, wow, dude, geez, I even working a job that was paying me $15 an hour, I was only getting a little over $2,000 a month. That still barely covers it. And you think, well, let's raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. Well, what do you think the rent on these places is going to do? The rent on these places is going to go up because that's all it does. You raise the wages and the prices go up. Your labor shortage is due to the fact that things are broken. Your labor shortage is due to the fact that people treat you like shit. That you don't get paid near enough to survive on and live on. It almost seems like for the 13th Amendment, when they abolished slavery, that they didn't really abolish it, they just rebranded it. They rebranded it to minimum wage because that's kind of what it feels like, is that you're a slave. Now, for me, having a wife and 3 kids, when I could work, it was fine. When I could work, we were bringing in decent money. We could afford to take care of all the kids and give them what they needed and take them out and have some fun with them and be a family. And we were able to do that. Now with all of this pandemic stuff going on, I'm not able to work. I'm not able to drive my car anymore because I have to stay home with my children because somebody has to be home, has to be here with them. And if we were to hire a babysitter or a nanny, we wouldn't be able to afford it. We'd be stuck in the same boat that we're in now, except we would both be working. So I've had to take time off. It's a good thing I own my own home. Otherwise, we wouldn't make it. Anyway, guys, that's a little food for thought. And if corporate guys from streets of New York are listening, those are the reasons why your business tanked in Prescott Valley. It's the reason why your store went under, is because you were unappreciative of your employees. You wanted them to keep working for you and busting their asses for you so that you could sit in your offices and make a shit ton of money while we're getting screwed between you guys, fellow employees or prospective employees, and the customers. We were taking all the heat. We were in the trenches, and you were nowhere to be found. You didn't help us one bit. You didn't provide any kind of a break for the crap that we had to do, the 6-7 days a week that we had to work And I know that you'd come up with some kind of statement, oh, yeah, they never worked 6, 7 days a week. Bullshit, we did. I know we did. So, anyway, guys, that's the end of my show for today. This is Don, Diary of a Gig Driver. I'm not going to hound you about hitting the subscribe button or hitting the like button. You'll do that if you want to. It's a great thing about choice. So, anyway, guys, stay safe out there. This is Don. I'm out.